Today we are going to talk about regular and irregular cycle. In my previous video, I was teaching you how to count your cycle length correctly, right? And I promised to come back with another video on how to know if your menstrual cycle is regular or irregular, because this is one of the questions that we receive from women every day, asking if their periods are regular or irregular. Sometimes they just assume that it is irregular because they are not the same length, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you what a regular cycle is and what irregular cycle is, So a regular cycle, for example, okay, let me start like this. For you to know if your cycle is regular or irregular, you need to track your cycle for like 3 months. Keep records, record the first day of your period. Let's say for this month, you write the date, the first day of your period, then do that and do again, let's say like 4, keep 4. That 4 should give you 3 cycle lengths, right? So if you have not watched the previous video on how to count your cycle length correctly, you can just go through my profile to see how to count your cycle length correctly, So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to know if your cycle length is regular or irregular. So after counting your cycle length, let's say the 3 of them, for example, say you have, let's say 26, you have 28, you have 27, you have 30, you have 32, for example. Though that is considered a regular cycle. It is regular, within that range. Let's say 26, 20, sometimes 24, let's say sometimes 27, sometimes 28, like that. It's considered regular. Within that range, it can be 2 days after the previous date, the previous cycle or something, or 2 days below, 2 days earlier, So within that range, it's considered a regular cycle. And what's an irregular cycle is, example of irregular cycle is, let's say after counting years and you find out that you have, let's say you have 26, for example, and the next one is like 34, and the next one is like maybe 47, and then you see 21, like that, it just pops. You don't really know when you can't tell when you're going to see your next cycle. That is considered irregular because you can't keep dates. You don't really know when it's going to happen. That is considered an irregular cycle. You can have, let's say, sometimes you miss a month. I'm not referring to like February, because sometimes if you have a long cycle length, sometimes you might not see your period in February. It happens like that. But I'm talking about, let's say after counting the whole thing, you didn't have a period in a particular month, like after counting, you can see like 50 sometimes. Sometimes it can be like 40, 21. Sometimes it just happen and you see your period like 16. It's become like, just see a 16-day cycle just pops up like that. It can happen like that if you were stressed and maybe you took a particular drug like emergency contraceptive, like something like that. You can see your period very early, like maybe 14 days or so. But if you have not taken anything and you were not stressed, and it can happen like that sometimes. But you've gotten it right. Like I said, after counting your cycle length, use this example that I've given you to know if your cycle length is regular or irregular. So you won't be bothered, because a lot of women have said, some women have said theirs were irregular and they tried to fix it, but actually it wasn't. Your period doesn't have to be the same cycle length, all your life. It doesn't have to be. I don't think, probably maybe a very few women can have, let's say, a state, like they can have like 26 all their lives, or they can have like 28 all their lives, or like, let's say 30. So mostly, and first I want to mention that you should reduce stress, because stress can also affect your menstrual cycle. You know, it can affect your menstrual cycle. It can fluctuate, and makes it very hard for you to determine your ovulation, or if you are trying to conceive and the rest of them. So yeah, reduce stress. And so with that, I'm going to go now. My name is Joyce Bassi. I already mentioned that. So yeah, follow me for more. You can ask questions, in the comment section. Whatever you want to know, you want me to talk about, please put it in the comment section, and I'll bring it to you as a video like this. We'll explain and talk about it. See you. Please comment, like, follow, and everything that's good to do. Bye.